frozen. Try that again. There we go. Always exciting doing these. Yes, there we go. Now we're live. Possibly been live for the last 30 seconds and I've just been talking to myself. It's also a possibility. Always fun doing these. But I needed to get into the group today live, even though it has been, I'm going on leave on Saturday, and this week has been particularly hectic, even for a normal private practice hectic week. Today, this week has been particularly hectic, but I needed to get into the group at least live once today to say hello. Happy anniversary to us. 4 years, which seems insane, all through COVID. So yeah, amazing. And tell you a little bit about what else is in the back catalogue. So if you've been seeing the posts into the group today, I've had them queued up to go every 2 hours, and they were sharing little snippets of different webinars and different training options and that kind of thing. But I thought this can be your one-stop shop to come and hear about all of the different webinars before I send this out to the email list. So today has been the Facebook preview. Tonight, or midnight, I'll be sending out an option to the email list. So for people who are not in the Tools of the Trade Facebook group, or who are just not checking Facebook terribly regularly, the full professional list will get access to the discount codes, but there's going to be a cap. So there's only going to be 10 codes active tomorrow, and it's the first 10 people to use them will get the discount applied to their whole shopping cart. So so you guys have had access to all of the webinars all day, no limits, and you will have up until midnight tonight. Then tonight I'll send out that email to the mailing list, and they'll have access, but only the first 10 people to respond to the email will get access. So that's your little bonus for being in the Facebook group, and on the ball, I guess. So let me see if I can do this. I really need like a teleprompter. That's probably overkill, but let's see if I can pop that there. Okay, that's not bad. All right, so the entire back catalogue, and this includes 2 webinars that aren't even live on the website yet, so that aren't available for sale anywhere else. But we will start with my babies, my integrative self-care and non-sexy self-care webinars. So beyond Bubblebaths, integrative self-care is like part 1 of my self-care approach, integrating the biological, the neurological, the psychological into not only the identification and the understanding of burnout, but also into the recovery phase. And then non-sexy self-care is part 2 that I put out, I think maybe 2 years after the first one, and that involves that covers all of the tips and tricks and extensions of the original integrative self-care program, because what I came to realize over those 2 years was I was missing an important piece of the puzzle, and I go into that in the non-sexy self-care webinar in a fair bit of detail. Non-sexy self-care includes an overview of integrative self-care, but if you want to get the full package, the full experience, you can access both as part of this back catalogue sale. Then we have the 2 programs. So these are not webinars, these are sort of standalone programs. Onboarding in private practice, so that's a collection of 5 or 6 separate recordings that all cover introductory aspects or different aspects of private practice work. This is suitable for administrative staff who are maybe new to working in private practice or in mental health practices. It's also suitable for clinicians who are brand new to private practice. And it covers things like, you know, the most common billing types that we might see, some of the more common presentations. For front desk staff, it's useful in terms of, you know, if we've got if we've got a client with depression, what might that look like at the front desk, that type of thing. Um, and a couple of bonus modules on like dealing with panic attacks and things like that. But just a whole little bundle of things if you've got someone who's brand new to private practice coming in, that is helpful for them to think about and to plan for. Then there's how to become an animal assisted therapist. So that's the 12 points to becoming an animal assisted therapist. That's a 5-week program. So there's six plus a couple of bonus recordings, like 6 full webinars and then a couple of bonus recordings in there. And that takes you through becoming an animal assisted therapist, what animals are suitable for working in animal assisted therapy, things to consider in terms of practicalities like insurances and training, as well as a little bit of an overview of some of the theories of why we think AAT is such an awesome field, and to help you figure out, yeah, this fits within my clinical framework, this fits within how I like to work with my clients, and this is something I would like to explore. And then it gives you ideas and options of how you would go about exploring that. You know, what kinds of things to look for in a training organization. You know, we're doing, well, I'm part of the Animal Therapies Limited committee on animal assisted therapy. It's a ridiculously long name or title, but that's kind of that's our mandate for the first sort of 6 months of the committee, is to just come up with those. And I'm like, well, I've already come up with what sort of things people should be looking for in training institutions and all of that kind of thing as part of this program. And now we're debating all of the parts of that program. So, but so far they're holding up to debate pretty well. So I'm quite proud of that one. It's that was a fun one, and it's got a mix of um, straight recordings and recordings of live webinars, and there's some entertaining stuff in there, as well as the hopefully really useful information. Then we have the I suppose the standard webinars that I have presented, and for that we have case notes for confidentiality and compliance. Very proud of the alliteration on that one. Also very proud that it remains a really popular webinar. Particularly what I think where it comes in really handy is for people who might be just starting out as a therapist and are trying to figure out, what do I need to record, what do I not need to record, but also for those who are transitioning from maybe you know, NGOs or government agencies or things like that, where the note-taking requirements can be quite different, and trying to translate that into private practice work can keep you, you know, you're doing your notes at 10 o'clock at night and that kind of stuff, trying to keep up. So case notes for confidentiality and compliance, really, really nice way to go, with including some suggestions and some templates. And there's a little case example. We watch a bit of a video and give you a chance to see how I would do the notes for that one, and give you some ideas of how you can streamline and simplify note taking, so that you're not spending hours outside a session trying to stay compliant with that. Then another one I particularly like, this one hasn't been as popular, I think because people hear the word stats and roll their eyes, which is fair. I get that. But this is demystifying the stats behind treatment outcomes. And it's basically a look at what numbers should you be collecting in practice, what and what do they mean? So if people talk about cancellation rates, how do you calculate that and what does it mean? What's a good cancellation rate? What's a bad cancellation rate? What's a retention rate? What's an attendance rate? And yeah, how do I calculate these things, and how do I use them to inform my treatment? And and make sure I'm delivering the best possible treatment for the best possible outcomes. Then we have crisis coping skills. This one's pretty popular. This one is basically using skills from DBT in emotional regulation. So whatever client population you're working with, um, these are skills that are transferable to those populations, and with whatever therapeutic modality you're working within as well. These are sort of discrete skills that we've stolen from DBT and have made use of. And this can covers things like metaphors for discussing emotional identification and regulation with clients, helping them see the positive within the negative emotions. What's the point of having them in the first place? Helping them to understand that, and then how do we actually, what sort of acute crisis skills do we have, and then what more like long-term work can we do to reduce the number of crises in the first place? That is quite a good one as well. Okay, then we have chronic pain and illness. There really has been a lot of webinars. This is a very big back catalogue. You can be saving mucho mula in this in this particular end of year sale or end of financial year sale. As I'm reading through, I am sort of going, oh, this was a lot to offer up with a discount. But that's all right. I will talk to my business coach about this after we've done it, and yeah, I'll deal with that then. So chronic pain and illness, pretty self-explanatory, but looking at working with clients who might be experiencing chronic pain or chronic illness. This one, there was a lot of emphasis on, the client's experience and the bias that the client may have towards people in authority, and medicalized models and all of that kind of thing. So thinking about it quite holistically, and using neuroscience basically to manage and reprogram parts of the brain that have sort of been taken over by the pain or with dealing with the illness. That one is quite special to me. I'm quite proud of that one also. Then we have social media for therapists. This is one I adapted from a presentation I did for the APS on how to safely and effectively use social media as a therapist. So how to protect yourself, how to protect the clients, but still, be part of the conversation if that's what you want to do. How to use it for marketing to clients as opposed to marketing to, potentially for, like recruitment. And that also includes a little section on different apps and different ways of using the different apps. So, the posts that I've done today, for the anniversary thing, I've done using there was Canva to do the pictures, there was Vimeo and YouTube to do the links to the webinars, there was ChatGPT to come up with the sequence. So we talk about a whole bunch of different ways of using different tools to make the most out of social media without physically having, because I haven't been sitting here posting this every 2 hours. I queued this all up yesterday and it just goes out automatically then. So that also involved Smarter Queue to do that. And so we look at all those different things. We don't talk about ChatGPT in that one because ChatGPT was not around when I did that webinar, but it would be a good jumping off point, and I might end up doing a little bit of a talk on ChatGPT at some point anyway, because it's been a bit of a game changer, quite frankly. Then one of my favorites, self-sacrificing and perfectionism, particularly as it applies to therapists and people in the mental health field. We're notorious, and this webinar tells us why, and how we can start to overcome that by figuring out the basis of our self-sacrificing perfectionistic behaviors and figuring out what it's actually doing rather than what we think it's doing for us. Now we start to have the ones that had our guest speakers. I told you there's a lot. Um, we've got Exploring ADHD with Tamsyn from Hopscotch and Harmony. That was an awesome one. And that was looking at all aspects of ADHD, from diagnosis to differences in ADHD presentations between kids and adults, to managing a yes, no, or a maybe diagnosis. It was, yeah, there's some really, really, like Tamsyn did a really great job on that one, and that one's been really, really popular as well. So, Exploring ADHD with Tamsyn. Then we had Building Your AAI Toolbox with Gemma Olsen. So, Gemma is an animal assisted educator. So, she's a teacher basically who works with animals in the classroom and that kind of thing. And we did a joint one where we talked about specific strategies and specific ways of working with your animals, either in a classroom type setting or in a therapeutic type setting. So if you've already done your basic AAT foundational training, but you're wanting to go, well, what do I actually do now that I've got the basics? What do I actually do in session with my dog and the client? Then that's definitely the webinar for you. Then we have Polyvagal Theory Made Simple with Nadene van der Linden. This one, this one, when I got her to do this originally, she was like, "Oh, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure how many people will be interested." And now she sells a version on her website for more than you will pay for accessing it here. Um, and it's taken off massively for her and become one of her kind of core trainings. So definitely worth having a look at that one and getting that at a bit of a bargain today. And that's obviously an introduction to polyvagal theory. And what I like about the way Nadene did that was it was very much, this is an overview and an explanation of what polyvagal is, but this is what you can take away today and apply to your clients or to your work tomorrow. And I think that's kind of what all of our webinars have focused on, because it's designed for breadth of knowledge. So giving you a taster of a whole bunch of different modalities, a whole bunch of different um, theories and approaches to work, so you can sort of pick and choose what you want to use. So all of our presenters tend to leave you with something you can take away and start using the next day with whatever population or presentations you might be working with. Okay, so that was polyvagal theory with Nadene. Then we had working with family violence with the wonderful Carmel O'Brien. Carmel has, an Order of Australia. She's the author of Blame Changer. I was so excited when she agreed to present for us, because she's very in demand and she's actually sort of semi-retiring and not speaking as much anymore. So that was really, really exciting, and it was a fabulous talk. I've done a lot of work in the family violence sphere over a lot of years, and I still took a lot away from that one. It was really, really good. Okay, then finally, two more. These are the two that aren't even on the website yet, but if you want to access these two, and this is a very super special offer for the next 5 hours only, email me, Danielle 12points@gmail.com, and say, I want the Schema one or I want the EMDR one, and I will send you it via Dropbox, because it's not on the website yet, and it's not going to be for a while yet. So first up, we have Schema Modes with Chris Hepworth. Chris is such a good presenter. Makes me very jealous. So good, so engaging, so interesting. And he gave us a beautiful overview of schema modes and how they can manifest in therapy, different ways to work with them, and how they integrate with the maladaptive schemas, the individual maladaptive schemas. Really, really good training there. And again, he has a version of this on his website. So this would be a cheaper way to access that. Not that I would begrudge Chris and schema therapy training a single sale. If you want to go and pay more for it, go for it. That's fine. It's well worth it, whichever way you access it. And then finally, the webinar from just last month with Mark Grant, and this was integrating hypnosis and somatic psychology with EMDR, particularly as it relates to the treatment of trauma and medically unexplained symptoms, which again is quite a mouthful. This was fabulous. You know, Mark is such an innovative thinker and puts things together in such an interesting way. He has sort of looked at where's the overlap and where are the differences between things like using hypnosis and using somatic therapies, and what can we take from hypnosis and somatic therapies to enhance our EMDR work. And yeah, it was a very, very good presentation, and again, a presentation by someone who is sort of, you know, in demand all over the place, all over the world, quite literally. um, the day after he presented for us, he was presenting for a group of trauma therapists in the Ukraine. um, Really, really good way to access some really, yeah, like I said, some really innovative ideas there. Okay. that there was a lot more than I thought there was, and that took a lot longer than I meant it to. So if you've stuck to the end of this, congratulations, good job. But that's an overview of all of the different types of training that you can gain access to for the next, oh god, I'm not good at maths, 4.25 hours, until midnight tonight. Otherwise, keep your eyes open for the email that will go out at midnight, and the first 10 people will be able to still use that coupon code and access these discounts. And this does apply to the whole cart, so you can access every single one of those trainings and you get 20% off all of them. So enjoy. Have fun. If anybody's got any questions about any of the particular webinars or trainings, let me know. And otherwise, I'll see you later.